In the past, we've discussed enemies of significant importance in our journey through the lands between. Estelle, the cosmic horror, the ulcerated tree spirits that spawn from the roots of the Erd Tree, even Godfrey, the first Tarnished himself. However, while the toughest trials we face are often the most remembered, there are also enemies strewn across the land that become nothing more than scenery once we've established ourselves and our strength. One such group is the Demi-Humans, who early in our journey can overwhelm us with their numbers, but are later nothing more than fodder along the road, better ignored when we have more important things to do and places to be. That said, these creatures are vastly interesting, as while they come across as feral beasts, we know they possess the potential for greater intelligence thanks to our trusty seamster Bach. Today, we will be discussing the Demi-Humans, their hierarchy within their own society, and their potential to be one of the larger players in the lands between, if they were not written off by its other denizens. Welcome to Elden Lore, our weekly series diving into the stories of the people, places, and monsters of the lands between. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We're excited to have you along for this week's exploration, and hope you enjoy our thoughts and research into the truth behind these creatures. If you end up liking our content, please consider subscribing so we can continue to grow the incredible community we've been lucky enough to cultivate. We also have a Discord where you can talk to other FromSoft fans about your Elden Ring thoughts and theories. Whether you subscribe or not, thanks again for taking the time to hang out with us. And with that said, let's get back to the topic at hand. The Demi-Humans come across as simple, savage creatures, and even their ashes would have you believe this. Ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell, used to summon the spirits of 5 Demi-Humans. Spirits of Demi-Humans that are small in stature, but have a violent, brutish disposition. Though they seem somewhat intelligent, when night falls, their blood boils and they become feral. Indeed, these enemies are stronger at night, but they fight no differently from how they would in the day. The Demi-Humans wear tattered rags and wield a mix of crude weaponry and blades they've clearly taken off those they've killed, such as falchions and great knives. When it comes to equipment they've fashioned themselves, we have the rickety shield, the spiked club, and possibly the bloodstained dagger. The shield gives us another look at the average intelligence of a Demi-Human. A creaky old wooden shield, circular in shape, roughly reinforced with vines or some such. There are countless other shields available of better make. This piece of scrap isn't worth the effort of equipping. There isn't an item description anywhere else in Elden Ring that makes its equipment seem so pitiful. It's safe to say this is all the average Demi-Human is capable of, a makeshift shield and a prowess for attacking wildly. But what about those that are deemed exceptional in their community? Demi-Humans have a fairly clear hierarchical structure when it comes to their tribes. At the bottom is your typical Demi-Human, small but fierce and not too smart. Then we have larger Demi-Humans, which carry their next great accomplishment of engineering, the spiked club. A club with beast fangs wrapped around the striking end. The uneven spread of fangs causes blood loss. Given only to the toughest of Demi-Humans, this weapon is a badge of honor, or so the Demi-Humans believe. The next highest rank would be the Demi-Human chiefs, leaders of smaller bands of Demi-Humans, much larger in stature and much more dangerous. They carry the bloodstained dagger, which is a name that speaks for itself and is a sign of their brutality. Perhaps unexpectedly, the highest status a Demi-Human can achieve is that of queen, as we can find several Demi-Human queens across the lands between, teaching us 2 important things about their culture. First, that the Demi-Humans are a matriarchal society, and second, that their queens are capable of great intelligence. There are 3 named Demi-Human queens: Maggie, Margot, and Gillica. Each of these queens is significantly larger than any other Demi-Human we encounter, and wields the Demi-Human Queen's staff. Glintstone staff styled as a scepter, a gift once given to the Demi-Humans to foster peace. It can be wielded even by those of low intelligence, sneered at by fools in the academy. Through this staff, we learn that someone, most likely older members of Raya Lucaria, saw it beneficial to make peace with the Demi-Humans, rather than see them as enemies. Perhaps this was during one of their wars with the Golden Order, but it's impossible to say that definitively. We can see the collaboration between Carlos sorcerers and Demi-Human Queen Maggie when we make our way toward Grandmaster Azur during Selen's quest. In this battle, the Demi-Humans and sorcerers are working together to keep people away from the former Grandmaster, though to what end we can't know. In this fight, you may see the sorceries Maggie is capable of casting, and while Glintstone Pebble can be expected even from those with low intelligence, she's also able to cast Crystal Burst, which speaks to her potential for higher thinking. Crystal Burst is one of the Glintstone sorceries of the Academy of Raya Lucaria. Fires a burst of glintstone crystal shards, a sorcery of the Crystal Cadre, a group of sorcerers who pursue the wisdom of stone, the secrets locked in the faint cognition of the Crystallians. A demi-human able to understand a spell associated with the Crystal Cadre would likely be seen as inconceivable to most, but we believe this belies their true capacity for intelligence. The fact that the only demi-humans intelligent enough to understand sorcery are their queens plays into their concept of a matriarchal society, and may even explain why the men of the species are so feral. Perhaps all demi-humans have the potential for this higher thinking, but traditionally, the only ones elevated to this place are their women. This would mean various Demi-Human Queens are in charge of the smaller tribes we do battle with during our journey. The women of their society study, learn, speak, and sew, while the men are sent off to fight, hunt, and grow strong. The linchpin in our assertion that this is a cultural norm rather than male demi-humans being incapable of higher intelligence comes from the very first demi-human we're likely to encounter, our trusty seamster, Bach. Bach, for whatever reason, was associated with the demi-human tribe that settled in the coastal cove, and was pushed out of their cave, told never to come back. I believe he was rejected because of his demeanor and intelligence. Bach wears fine clothes and never comes across as much of a fighter. Being a deeply intelligent male demi-human, capable of complex speech, is most likely the reason why he was tossed out. He couldn't serve his purpose as a member of the tribe. Bach speaks of his mother on multiple occasions, and he revered her as a superior seamstress, revealing that she once told him about the royal seamster's ability to adjust even the clothes of the demigods themselves. Clearly, Bach's mother was an intelligent woman, and a master of her craft, and we know for sure she was a demi-human, due to the prattling pate that says, "You're beautiful." Twisted clay sculpt in the shape of a demi-human head, emits a voice that says, "You're beautiful." A wistful fetish that imparts voices and words on an eternal journey. Unconditional love, unrestrained assurance. It must have been a mother speaking. This item is found in the hermit village in Mount Gelmir, where demi-humans are defending their territory. Unfortunately, the pate is lying on the corpse of a demi-human, who we could assume to be Bach's mother. Following our line of thinking on their societal structure, we believe that after Bach was sent away, his mother was killed for breaking their cultural norms and teaching her son to think on a higher level than the men of his society were meant to. True intelligence was only for the women of their species, and in breaking this rule, her life would be made forfeit. This explains why we never meet another intelligent male demi-human. Bach is unique due to the love of his mother, who wanted her son to have the opportunity to live up to his true potential, and not be forced into mindless violence at the whims of her society. In this way, we come to understand that all demi-humans are capable of being something more, but none dare defy the structure of their society, lest they anger their queens and be made an example of, like the village seamstress. There is more that could be said about the potential intelligence of the demi-humans, such as Queen Margot dropping the jar cannon, a weapon so complex even the knights who brought it to the assault on the Volcano Manor had no idea how to use it, as well as their culture, as when their leaders are defeated, the demi-humans cower for their lives. But this all peaks to the greater idea that these creatures are slaves to their societal norms. Thanks to Bach the Beautiful, we know that every demi-human has the potential for empathy, kindness, and intelligence. But due to the culture they're brought up in, very few strive to achieve these virtues. It would seem the feral attitude of these enemies truly is due to nurture rather than nature, and perhaps, with their demi-human seamster by their side, the next Elden Lord can take steps to offer the demi-humans another way to live, if they so choose. Thank you for joining us for this week's Lore Dive, digging into the cultural norms and hierarchy of the demi-humans. Do you believe that Bach is an anomaly and that other demi-humans can't communicate at this level? Or do they simply have no need to do so due to their culture? How do you think demi-humans choose their queens? In an age of abundance, would the demi-humans have any need to ravage those they find across the land? Why does the demi-human queen Maggie protect Grandmaster Azur? Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and set notifications to all so you never miss out on any of our lore dives. We look forward to seeing you again for more Elden Lore.